In this video, we're going to go over the best console settings for Apex in Season 13. First thing you're going to want to do is go to the video tab and make sure your field of view is sitting somewhere between 100 and 110. This next option right here, Fob Ability Scaling, this is going to make sure that when you use an ultimate or a tactical that changes your field of view, it will no longer do that. So if you're in Bloodhound ult, you're always going to be at 110 field of view and it won't affect your aim. And sprint view shake, make sure you have this set to minimal. That way you have less screen shake when you're running around during the game. The next thing to do is go to the controller tab and make sure that you're using a button layout that's good for you. I personally use default stick layout. I have two paddles. I also use hold to crouch, which is not for everyone, but it works for me. Most of this stuff is pretty standard. You don't really need to change much. I do have my LNR button dead zone set to none. This is going to make sure that whenever you hit your triggers, it automatically shoots. There's no delay. Menu cursor speed, this is something you're going to want to adjust for yourself. Whatever works good for you to get into a box and get the things you want and get out of there. Now, I play on a classic response curve with a 5-4 sensitivity. This is what works best for me, but this is going to be independent of what works for you. So definitely mess around in the firing range and, you know, dial it in. But this is a good place to start for most people. 5-4 or 4-3. Now look dead zone. I have mine set to none. That's because I have 0 stick drift in my right stick. If you do have some stick drift, I would recommend going to small, but other than that, it should be set to none. My movement dead zone is also set to small, and none of this stuff matters. I keep vibration off because you don't want anything affecting your aim. Now, if you're one of the people that these sensitivities just can't work for you and you can't get it to line up, you can go to the advanced look controls, turn this on, and it gives you a lot more options. Now, there's other guides online and on YouTube that you can pull up to try to get a sensitivity starting point and then dial it in yourself. But for me, I don't really mess with that because 5-4 works great for me. Now, on the gameplay tab, there are a few things in here that I think you should change. First of all, make sure this is set to compact. It's kind of self-explanatory. It makes all the menus that when you're looting a death box and things like that, it makes all the description for stuff a lot smaller. Now, make sure you have this crosshair damage feedback set to X with icon. This is going to let you see whenever you're actually shooting someone. I can show you what that looks like. So make sure you have that set to X with a shield icon. That way you know at least what the enemy's armor is and make sure you know when you're hitting them. I have damage number set to stacking. This just gives me an overall damage number and it reduces all the extra clutter on the screen. This should be fine for most people. All right, next up, ping opacity. Set that to faded. Obituaries on. Minimap rotation. This is kind of personal preference. I have it turned off right now. Sometimes when it's on, it messes me up. I go back and forth on this, but do what makes it more comfortable to you. And weapon auto cycle on empty. I have this set to off because there's something the game does whenever it'll automatically cycle to your full gun when you run out of ammo on the other one. And I don't like that because then I accidentally switch and then it switches back to a gun that has no ammo. So make sure you have this set to off. That way you don't have that issue. Next up is auto sprint. I have this set to on, and that means if I tilt my left stick forward, it automatically runs and sprints every time. The only downside is there is a little bit of a delay whenever you try to shoot your gun whenever you push forward on the stick. And it will get you killed occasionally, but for me, I think it's better to be able to make sure that I'm always going to be running full speed whenever I want to. And if you want to walk, all you have to do is slightly push forward on the stick and then you can walk. Now, like I was saying, if you have auto sprint turned on and you want to shoot when you're running, there is a little bit of a delay. But at the same time, I can always sprint no matter which direction I go. I'm always going into a sprint motion. So it's kind of a fair trade-off. Double tap to sprint. This is turned off. If you play Valkyrie, this jetpack control right here should be on hold. This means every time that you hit X when you're in the air, you will fly. And when you let go of X, you will stop flying. Toggle, it messes me up. I don't like it. So I have it set to hold. Incoming damage feedback, make sure that's set to 3D. Now this one right here, taking damage closes death box or crafting menu. Now I go back and forth of having this on and off, but in all reality, if you're playing at a high level, you want to have this set to off so that you can get what you want out of a box, even if someone hits a bullet on you, instead of it knocking you out of a death box and not getting the armor swap that you're trying to get. Set this to off. If you're worried about getting one clip looting a box on console, set this on, it'll jump you out of it and maybe you'll have a chance to survive. Now for me, I like to have this performance display set to on. That way I can monitor what the game's doing. If I know if I'm losing frames or if I'm on a server that has really bad ping, this can let you know. It's just for informational. I like to have it there and it doesn't clutter up the screen too much. Most of you know that Apex added a feature to customize your reticle. Right now I'm running like a green color. It works pretty good. I just still haven't quite found the perfect color. I've used the pink before and I've used the green before and I've used the blue. I feel pretty good with the green right now, so we're gonna stick with that for a little bit and then see what happens. I don't use any colorblind modes. Some people do like to run the colorblind modes because it makes certain things easier for other people to see. So if you want to experiment with these, I would suggest go into the firing range, try them out, see if any of them help you out. Me personally, I like it without. So last is the audio tab. Just make sure that your master volume and your sound effects volume are both all the way up. And dialogue, music, and lobby music, I have these relatively low because they really just kind of interfere with the game, especially the dialogue volume in game when your teammates are calling things out and they're just loud and they actually can, you know, block out other audio that you're trying to hear. I hope these settings help you guys, and if you need any other help or have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll do what I can to help you guys out. Anyways, we'll see you on the next one. Later.